Grichels. So these things are called Grichels. So these are Grichel patches. They have these creepy little leather faces, just in a patch form. My friend picked me these up like 2 years ago, and now I'm gonna make them into bags finally. 2 of them are for me, 2 of them are for her. So here is my gigantic tub of leather scrap, and I'm just gonna kind of find stuff that works. All right, got some good kind of color piles going here. So next I have to actually design the bag. So these were the designs that I made last time. I really did like how it turned out. The narrow opening was kind of a bit much, and making this pleating was a little rough on my hands. I think I'm going to simplify this a little bit. Of course, make this a little bit bigger. They do make really great bags, don't they, though? These are roughly the dimensions I'm going to do them. 6-inch opening, which is an inch wider than the old one. It's an inch longer, about the same width. And just in case you ever put on a wide belt, make a really big belt loop in the back that's 5 inches long. So now to transfer this to an actual pattern. So there's all the pattern pieces. And now I see what kind of fits and what works. And cut it out. There's one. And this one. And last but not least, that one. Alright, getting ready to sew. I do pin my leather just because I don't like it moving around. Some people use glue, some people use other methods. I like pins. Another thing I use is a leather needle, which seeing if I can focus on. And, ooh, there you go. The leather needle actually has a sharpened point to it. It'll actually cut through the leather, which makes it really nice because it puts way less force on your machine. But it is strictly for leather on leather. If you're sewing fabric, because it has that blade on it, it will slice up your fabric and ruin your fabric. But for stuff like this where I'm sewing through a really thick piece of leather, it works really well. I also set it to a wider stitch because leather is not, a woven material. If you put too many holes too close together, it perforates it, just like you would with paper. The last thing I do is I do add a walking foot onto here. And that just helps it to go a little bit more even. Leather can kind of grip the foot a little bit. So having feed dogs up above too just helps it to move through a little easier. Here's kind of just how I piece these together. I'm actually sewing 2 at the same time because they're both using black thread. But the front is just those 3 pieces sewn together to get the seam to lay flat. I've also just top stitched down and trimmed it close. Flap is just the leather with the Grichel and then some lining in the back. The back piece has the loop already in here. It's just too difficult to sew this loop inside of the bag when it's all actually together. I sew it while it's just this individual piece. Then I'll be sewing the front here to the inside of the bag, and then I sew the lining into that with a hole in the lining so I can reverse the whole thing, and that's how I make them. All right, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and broken needles, but I got all 4 of them made. Really like how they turned out. I think it was a cool mixture of leathers. They are pretty easy to open as I struggle one-handed. Lots of space inside, plenty of room for a hand to actually get into it this time. Again, it's got the big wide belt loop, and to secure it, you just loop the leather around the button and then pull it tight, and that actually keeps it pretty secure. So there you got them.